In the winter of 1944, deep inside German-occupied Poland, Allied prisoners of war faced a reality worse than death itself. Stalag-Luft 3 was a camp designed not just to hold men, but honestly, to break them. Guards studied escape psychology, you know. Barracks were raised off the ground to expose tunneling. The sand was this bright yellow, just impossible to hide. Yet, despite the odds, over 600 prisoners chose to risk everything. Not for glory, but for survival. What followed became the most lethal escape attempt of the entire war. Why was this escape different from all others in World War II? Most prison breaks during the war involved small numbers, short distances, and quick recapture. But this one was different because it was, well, industrial scale. The prisoners didn't plan for just 10 men to slip away. They planned for hundreds. Their goal was to overwhelm German rail systems, force massive manhunts, and divert resources from the front lines. This was resistance through chaos, and it came at a terrible cost. The prisoners dug 3 tunnels simultaneously, nicknamed Tom, Dick, and Harry. Each tunnel ran more than 300 feet, deep enough to avoid sound detection, reinforced with stolen bed slats, and ventilated using makeshift air pumps built from powdered milk tins. This wasn't improvisation. It was engineering under pressure. How preparation, discipline, and patience made the escape possible. The escape took more than a year of silent labor. Prisoners worked in shifts, hiding dirt in bags sewn inside their trousers and dispersing it slowly across the camp during exercise. Forged documents were produced by hand using stolen ink, homemade stamps, and cigarette paper. Civilian clothing was sewn from blankets and dyed using scavenged materials. The lesson here is not just historical, it's practical. Survival under constraint requires routine, patience, and division of labor. No single man could have done this alone. The escape worked if everyone followed the system. When the escape finally happened, everything began to go wrong. On the night of March 24, 1944, the escape began. Almost immediately, problems surfaced. The tunnel exit came up short of the tree line, leaving escaping men exposed in the snow. The ground was frozen solid, slowing movement. Airflow inside the tunnel faltered. Men waited hours underground, burning calories and oxygen. Only 76 men escaped before a guard discovered the tunnel. Of those 76, just 3 would eventually reach freedom. Why did this escape turn deadly after capture? Adolf Hitler was furious. His initial order was to execute all recaptured escapees. After pushback from military leadership, the order was reduced. But, it was still brutal. 50 of the recaptured men were executed by the Gestapo under the false claim that they were shot while attempting escape. This was a war crime, plain and simple. These men were not killed during the pursuit. They were selected, transported, and murdered deliberately. Their bodies were cremated to hide evidence. The psychological impact rippled through POW camps across Europe. Survival lessons hidden inside this tragedy. This escape teaches hard truths. First, preparation does not guarantee survival. Environment, timing, and human reaction can undo even the best plans. Second, authoritarian systems rely on fear after failure. The executions were meant to discourage resistance, yet they had the opposite effect. Allied resolve hardened. From a practical standpoint, escape really highlights the importance of adaptability. Some escapees actually failed because they relied too heavily on trains, documents, or set routes. The few who managed to survive moved slowly, avoided systems, and blended into the terrain rather than sticking to infrastructure. So, how can modern survivalists apply these lessons today? If you take the time to study this escape carefully, a few principles really stand out. Never rely on a single exit strategy. The tunnel was a marvel, but once it was compromised, all the options just vanished. Redundancy honestly saves lives. Mobility, in the end, beats speed. The people who rushed were caught first, and, well, the community truly matters. Shared skills kept the operation alive for over a year. Even today, whether you're preparing for disasters, displacement, or long-term instability, these principles still hold true. Quiet preparation, resource sharing, and patience, they matter way more than heroics. Why does this escape still matter today? The Great Escape, as it was known, wasn't a failure. It was a sacrifice. It exposed Nazi brutality, strengthened post-war war crime prosecutions, and became a symbol of human defiance under absolute control. The men who died didn't escape the camp, but they escaped submission. Their story isn't really about tunnels. It's about what people are willing to endure for freedom, dignity, and the chance to choose their own fate. If stories like this matter to you, if you believe history holds lessons worth carrying forward, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who values real history, and keep these stories alive.